Thank you for tuning in to the channel. Please like, share, and subscribe if you like the material. Today is a very sad day in the former Jehovah Witness community. In fact, it almost appears that Watchtower takes a win. Well, why? Well, Lloyd Evans, a popular former Jehovah Witness, has officially initiated 7 international lawsuits against 7 former Jehovah Witnesses. And what behooves me is that each of the individuals that he is suing have voices on YouTube. They're all content creators. He's suing them for defamation of character. And just imagine if all of these channels banded together to go up against Watchtower the Great. But instead, everyone is distracted by these lawsuits. So let's have at it. Let's take a look at what Lloyd posted on Facebook. Lloyd Evans has released a legal update in regards to the infamous 7 that he is suing in regards to defamation. On May 4th, I tweeted that a criminal lawsuit had been filed at the Cedars Municipal Court, a local jurisdiction here in Croatia, in relation to defamation by 7 listed defendants. I mentioned at the time that I was glad that the matter was finally in the hands of lawyers and the legal process was underway. Since then, the barrage of defamation has continued, resulting in an inevitable outpouring of hateful trolling, in addition to countless abusive tweets, YouTube comments, and videos. I have received malicious voicemail messages and been stalked online. During a recent trip to London, someone posted screen grabs showing my interest in dating event, which Silvio quickly posted as a YouTube video. Apparently, my love life with consenting adults continues to be worthy of public scrutiny. This forced me to go on Twitter and out the fact that Deanna and I are currently separated, not yet divorced, and living as single people. Hence, there was absolutely nothing scandalous about the revelation. I had assumed that by now the court would have sent legal paperwork to all the defendants. The lack of documentation seems to be causing some to claim that the litigation is fictitious and or an empty threat aimed at silencing the detractors. I've also been disappointed by the slowness of the legal process. When you know you are innocent of damning accusations, you want your name and reputation to be cleared as quickly as possible so that you can move on. Admittedly, I haven't been chasing my legal team over each and every detail, including all the time scales and deadlines involved. Given the extremely stressful and upsetting nature of the defamation campaign and the ongoing damage it is inflicting on the activism work, private life and mental health, I have been happy to just leave them to it without too many questions. But recent events have prompted me to contact them for clarification on matters to avoid confusion. I felt it would be helpful to provide the following information and share the documentation providing the lawsuit has been filed. You will note that I've been careful to redact all personal contact information, both my own and those of the defendants, for obvious reasons of privacy. Only the names of the defendants in their respective countries have been made visible in terms of identifying information. I am sure they will complain, and even this is too much. But since they have each heaped abusive defamation on my name, I don't think they have too much room to complain if I name them in return. Some have claimed that no Croatian court has legal jurisdiction over the people living abroad. Citizens of the USA, UK, and Australia, I am repeatedly assured by my legal team that this is not the case under Croatian law when it comes to defamation. Really, it makes sense that simply living in another country shouldn't be enough to protect someone from breaking the law using the internet. Otherwise, online scammers could defraud people living in other parts of the world with total impunity. When I asked my legal team what would happen if the defendants were to simply ignore the lawsuit, they assured me that a verdict will be reached even in their absence. Some have complained that I haven't provided a specific point-by-point rebuttal regarding the defamation I am suing for. I've also seen defendants complaining that their efforts to speak or correspond with my lawyers regarding the litigation, its legal basis, the amount of compensation proposed in the warning letters, or whatever else they had a problem with, was met with poor communication. In response, I would only point out the following, which should really be obvious. Number one, when you defame someone, it isn't their job to provide a point-by-point summary of how you defamed them and or help you fact-check your defamatory content to make it more agreeable. They get to take you to court and sue you, and if you know you haven't defamed them, you can challenge their evidence when this is produced before the court with your own. You lose the right to amicably resolve matters when you publicly try to destroy a person's name and reputation with lies. Number two, the warning letters were non-negotiable and purely a part of the pretrial process. They were not an intimidation strategy. My lawyers informed me there were no legal compulsion to send them, but it would weigh in my favor if I gave those defaming me an opportunity to stop and make recompense. None of the defendants who received warning letters heeded them, so we can move straight from pre-trial to the trial stage. In other words, there was one acceptable response to the warning letters. We apologize and will comply with your request. Since no response of that kind was forthcoming, the lawsuit was filed. I also want to make it clear that those who receive warning letters but haven't been listed as defendants are not exempted from future civil action. Neither of those who have produced defamatory content but have yet to receive any letter. Under Croatian law, the statute of limitation for criminal lawsuits is 3 months. We therefore had a 3-month window from January the 31st, when the first defamation appeared online, to April the 30th for defamatory material we wish to include in the litigation. Since it was impractical and too costly to include all 12 individuals who received warning letters, the translation costs alone were eye-watering. 7 of the most egregious cases were selected, and the remainder, including any that have yet to receive a letter, may be included in future civil action, for which the statute of limitation is 3 years, depending on the success of the criminal lawsuit and the damages paid out. Of course, those sued criminally can be further sued civilly. I know some have been protesting the innocence of some who received warning letters, but who were not named in the criminal defendants. You need to understand that no matter how much you may think a particular video is fair, ultimately nobody knows the details of the private life and activism work of Lloyd Evans better than Lloyd Evans. In the case of one popular ex-JW YouTuber who produced a 1-hour, 37-minute video about me and my private life and seems to pride himself on taking a balanced and objective approach, I can tell you he managed to lie about me within the first 2 minutes. It is hard to overstate just how much damage has been caused by the defamation campaign. Hundreds of patrons have been lost after being swayed by the torrent of lies and mischaracterizations about my work and character. I honestly can't blame those who have left. They were very skillfully tricked, and I could easily imagine becoming disillusioned myself in their shoes. Thankfully, as of now, the majority of the patrons have stuck with me, for which I am profoundly thankful. Some have even joined specifically because they abhor what is being done to me and my family. At some point soon, it is my hope that a full list of examples of precisely how I have been defamed by each of the defendants during a 3-month window, January the 31st to April the 30th, will be made public. We had hoped that this would be included in the original filing, but due to time constraints, my legal team chose to wait for the court to invite them to amend the paperwork retroactively with specific examples based on evidence I compiled back in April. I won't publish the evidence summaries I sent to my legal team because I do not wish to undermine their work, but I will tell you how many pages of evidence I compiled for each defendant. Each page has links, dates, timestamps, and relevant quotes. Kim Silvio, 15. Joel Martz, 14. Kim and Mike Brooks, 16. Cora Latham, 3. Marc Latham, 4. Jonathan Berger, 21. Today, June 10th, I instructed my legal team to try to expedite the process of amending the paperwork by whatever means. Once the amended paperwork is filed, I will be sure to make it public so that everyone can know exactly what lies have been told, when and by whom. It will then be for the court to decide whether I have been defamed and, if I have, what the damages should be. In the meantime, if you were in any doubt that I am serious about pursuing litigation so that my name can be cleared and my work and legacy protected, hopefully the paperwork I have shared will go some way to reassuring you. Some will have noted that in one of Kim Silvio's latest videos, I issued a challenge in her comment section. I challenged her to prove that she is actually a retired lawyer, which were the credentials she used to secure a position of trust both in the J.W. Watch team and with the various survivors of abuse who approached her for help while she was working with us. It has only been over the past few weeks when observing Kim's increasingly unlawyerly behavior that myself and others have started to have doubts about her background. Though it is a complicated process to ascertain whether the claim, "I am a retired lawyer," for any given person is true or not, it would be relatively straightforward for Kim to say, "I attended this college, university, gained this qualification, and I am registered with this law society." As I mentioned in the YouTube comment, Kim is unlikely to ever provide the information because my challenge places her in an impossible situation. She must know on some level that she has defamed me and that her defamation alone puts her at risk of losing any credentials she may have as a lawyer. If she is found to have breached a code of conduct for her law society, and if it were found to be the case that there never were any credentials, this would expose her as the liar I know her to be. I mention all this because it's an important issue, no matter how much her supporters may gloss over the matter and claim it to be some kind of diversionary tactic on my part. Bottom line, is Kim a liar or not? Can she at least be trusted in what she has said about herself, let alone others? I fully expect this simple challenge to be met with continued stony silence and mockery from Kim for as long as possible. She simply can't answer it either way without repercussions, and she knows it. Whether Kim answers my challenge or not, I believe her lies are beginning to unravel. At some point, the penny will surely drop for those who support her that they have been conned. Kim has masterfully exploited the residual judgmentalism, prudishness, and gossip-mongering mentality that all ex-Jehovah Witnesses, myself included, carried to some degree. And she has done so in a way that both damages the movement and sets a dangerous precedent whereby any activist can be viciously attacked once they reach a certain level of popularity. I feel I owe it not just to myself, but to future generations of activists to continue to fight her bullying and to send out a warning that there are consequences when you use lies to try to destroy someone just because you personally dislike them. This ordeal has been harrowing and unquestionably the most stressful experience of my life, far more than losing my mother to cancer. With the passage of time and the help of my psychiatrist, I feel I am making progress in adjusting to the new norm of constant abuse on Twitter, YouTube, and elsewhere with this ongoing violation of my private life. It is also incredibly helpful to be able to lean on my legal team and trust that the laws in my country will go at least some way in delivering justice and holding my attackers accountable. But more than anything, I want to thank all of my viewers and patrons who continue to show their support and solidarity during the most challenging chapter of my life. I will never forget those who were with me in my darkest hour. Thank you, Lloyd.